Hi, welcome to the Downtown Seder. My name is Michael Dorf, and this is City Winery Hudson Valley in Montgomery, New York. I'm joined here by my two sons. We are in one virus-free pod at the moment, I hope. I'm gonna sit down at the Seder table alone and try and do this. Take off my gloves for this. I think we're safe now. Thank you for joining tonight under the most unprecedented circumstances. Most of you are at home in quarantine, either voluntarily or under a government order due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. Now, the tradition of Jews gathering to retell the story of leaving Egypt is something that's been happening for over 2,000 years, from small groups in the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II to hiding from the Roman Empire in Bnei Brak. Never before have we had to cancel this ancient dinner party due to the oppression of no social gathering. With these new shackles of isolation, we are lucky to have so much technology to connect us, the many thousands right now watching. The Downtown Seder is not your typical Passover Seder. I've been hosting this artistic interpretive event since 1994, starting at the Knitting Factory with Lou Reed, Philip Glass, John Zorn, and many others. It's evolved over the 26 years, taking it last year to 5 different city winery markets mini tour, all different lineups, but the same same format, 300 people each night sitting around tables, drinking a lot of wine, eating matzah, and reaffirming our continuity with the generations who have kept the tradition of telling the story of how the ancient Egyptians oppressed a small tribe of slaves who did not share their ideological beliefs. And here we are again, new format, yet same symbolic story. Why is it so important about retelling this timeless story of our ancestors who were slaves and try and personally feel the struggle of leaving bondage and achieving freedom and liberation? Is that it transcends Judaism. These are fundamental human aspirations for all people that should not be politicized, and like this virus, it does not care about the color of your skin, your sexual orientation, or your religious or political beliefs. We should all take the lessons of the Passover story, mash them together with our current story, and emphasize to our oppressed brothers and sisters who lived centuries ago and those who are suffering today, to show empathy with those in hospitals right now, alone in isolation and pain, to the refugee crisis around the world, to the 20 million people suffering global hunger, to the violence against women and LGBT people, to the persecution of minorities and immigrants. The Seder is a time to join together in our shared history of oppression and struggle against bigotry. Passover is a reminder to ask questions, hard questions, fight abuses of power, challenge our leaders to tell the truth, and to drive home the importance of freedom of speech and the ongoing fight against tyranny. Now, this Seder takes several liberties with the tradition by using the language of the arts, music, comedy, spoken word, rather than just following the classic Haggadah. In fact, the word Seder translates to order, and we will follow loosely the traditional order, but we're going to take many liberties, such as strongly encouraging you to consume wine from the start and throughout the Seder, hopefully City Winery wine. Because by the third cup, everything takes on a lot more meaning. We also encourage you to nosh throughout the Seder, as you can't really drink on an empty stomach, as my mother used to tell me. Okay, I'm gonna do my best now to play leader of this Seder, introducing all of the participants who've sent me iPhone videos or other forms of video, or using some of our older videos and weave this story together. We're gonna start tonight with the band Betty. They have been regulars over the years, and I'm thrilled to have them again start this evening with a powerful piece they created around the simple candle lighting and peace blessing by the water. And here we are, the sunset over the Wallkill River starting. At the beginning of the video, there's some silence, so it's not an audio problem. Hang tight. Please welcome, opening candle lighting, Betty.
By the waters of Babylon, we lay down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, Zion. By the waters of Babylon, we lay down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, Zion. We remember thee, Zion. We lay down and wept for thee, Zion. We remember thee, Zion. We remember thee, Zion.
Now it's time for the first glass of wine. Of course, I'm going to start with a glass of City Winery Bubbles. There's nothing better than starting with bubbles. This was a cava we produced in Spain. It's really good. It's yummy. L'chaim. I've invited Rabbi AMICHAI LAU-LAVIE, founder of Shul, who is really on the front lines of connecting people today with an everybody-friendly, God-optional approach to spirituality. Check out labshul.org. He's the only official rabbi tonight, so don't worry. Raise your first of 7 or 9 cups of wine for this evening. Please welcome AMICHAI LAU-LAVIE.
Hey Michael, thank you for inviting me to share a few words on this night of getting ready for Passover 2020 unlike ever before. This is a place of alchemy, the winery always is, and so in the spirit of alchemy and the alchemists that bring us together, I want to share a couple of words about Kadesh, the first stop on the Seder train that gets us to sanctify this moment and honor what it means to be together by raising a glass of hope. So I got special wine tonight, a Pinot from 2017 from Sophia Dorf's B Mitzvah. I think it's my last one left, Michael. So this is for your family and mine and ours together at this time, and all our families wherever we are, sticking together and hopefully not driving each other too crazy. So that's the wine. This cup, well, it's a big silver cup that I just polished. My father gave me this. He is regifting what he got from his brother back in 1993 when my uncle became the chief rabbi of Israel. That's the gift my father got on Passover Eve, and I got it after. I don't use it much, but my family, your family, our family on this night is a special occasion. So Pinot in this ancient Kiddush cup. My uncle is regifting it most likely also. And we are regifting life and the abundance that this cup and all our cups represent. I want to raise this cup on this night to hope and to healing, to those who offer us the healing and give us hope, to all the alchemists who bring us together. and to how we will celebrate this night and many more together, families of all humanity, all species together. In the presence of the infinite, I raise this cup of transformation, from vine to wine, from then to now, to hope and healing. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu Ruach HaOlam, Borei Peri Agafen, L'chaim, to life. It's pretty good.
Thank you, Rabbi. I thought it'd be wonderful to start musically this year with David BROZA, who is not only considered the Springsteen of Israel, he's an active peace activist, a philanthropist, and a really great friend. David has actually played more of our Downtown Seders than any other artist, as in the last few years, he's actually traveled with me and played on the Seder tours at all the city wineries in all our locations. He has a project now called A Million Guitars. Check it out on 1millionguitars.org. He's planning to give that many guitars to underserved youth. He wrote a song called Yeh Tov, It Will Be Good, which was written with Yonatan Geffen on the cusp of the 1977 peace negotiations with Egypt, and became a huge hit in Israel. Actually, it became the national anthem for a while of Israel. It seems really perfect for these times. Joining him is his wife, Neely Loten, an amazing fashion designer who has a pretty good voice as well. From his home, David BROZA.
Hello everybody, and happy Pesach, happy Passover. Downtown Seder is happening in spite of everything, despite of everything. And in these challenging times, Neely, my wife, and myself, and David BROZA, we're gonna just sing along my song, I guess, that's most appropriate for these times. Yeh Tov, things will be better. So here we are. What do you say, Neely?
Happy holiday. Chag Sameach.
It's almost here, yeah. אני מביט מהחלון, זה עושה לי די עצוב. האביב חלף עבר לו, מי יודע אם ישוב. הליצן היה למלך, הנביא נהיה ליצן, ושכחתי את הדרך, אבל אני עוד כאן, ויהיה טוב, כן, לפעמים אני נשבר. אז הלילה, הלילה, איתך אני נשאר. ילדים לובשים כנפיים ועפים אל הצבא, ואחרי שנתיים הם חוזרים ללא תשובה. אנשים חיים במתח, מחפשים סיבה לנשום, ובין שנאה לרצח מדברים על השלום. ויהיה טוב, כן, לפעמים אני נשבר. אז הלילה, הלילה, איתך אני נשאר. כן, שם למעלה, בשמיים, עננים עומדים לעוף, ואני מביט למעלה, ורואה מטוס חטוף, ממשלה של גנרלים, מחלקת את הנוף, לשלהם ולשלנו, ולא רואים את הסוף. הנה בא נשיא מצרים, איך שמחתי לקראתו, פירמידות בעיניים, ושלום במקטרתו. ואמרנו, היי, בוא נשלימה, ונחיה כמו אחים. ואז הוא אמר, קדימה, רק תצאו מהשטחים. ויהיה טוב, כן, לפעמים new one. Not so new, I've been saying it for a few years. But this says that we shall all learn to live together under the olive trees. And the children will grow up knowing no more wars, no terror, no frontiers. And the fresh new graves, there'll be new flowers growing on them. For no virus, no war, no plight, no earthquake, no hardship will bring us down. So, עוד נלמד לחיות ביחד בין חורשות עצי זיתים. ילדים יחיו בלי פחד, בלי גבולות, בלי מקלטים. על קברים נפרח הכסף ושלום ואהבה. 100 שנים של חיים ועוד לא אבדה התקווה. יהיה טוב, כן, לפעמים אני נשבע. אז הלילה, הלילה, איתך אני נשאר. יהיה טוב, כן, לפעמים אני נשבע. אז הלילה, הלילה, איתך אני נשאר. אני מביט מהחלום, אולי מגיע יום חדש. כן, 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 כן. Happy Pesach! Happy.
Happy?
Before, that was incredible, David. Neely, thanks for doing this. Before getting into an incredible lineup of more music and humor, I've invited a new friend, Hunter Johansson, who's doing important work right now with renewable energy to help power first responder stations in Puerto Rico. I've asked him to say a few words. I thought he would make a perfect carpas. Now that, because that kind of resembles springtime and renewal and a reminder of our environment, Mother Earth. So check out solarresponders.org. Our carpas this evening, Hunter Johansson.
Hi everybody, my name is Hunter Johansson. I am the founder and CEO of the nonprofit Solar Responders. We install solar power and battery storage on first responder stations so that when the power grid fails or if there's an emergency, first responders have access to reliable power so that they can charge radios, receive 911 calls, and ultimately save lives. I've been operating out of Puerto Rico, where I am currently, for about 2 years now. We have 2 fire stations that are operating on solar power, and we're looking to do the remaining 81 fire stations here on the island. As you can see from what's going on in the world right now with COVID-19, it is extremely important that we proactively provide first responders and our other lifesavers with the critical resources that they need to do their jobs. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, City Winery, for all of your support the past 2 years and for this opportunity to speak with you today. I hope to catch up with everybody very, very soon. So stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hunter. It's time to break the middle matzah into 2 parts, which is one part's called the afikomen. And to better understand this tradition, Please welcome, from quarantine in Israel, the comedian Joel CHASNOFF.
Hey guys, Chag Sameach. This is Joel CHASNOFF, stand-up comedian and writer, coming to you from my porch in Israel, where I live part of the time, and where I happen to be quarantined for the moment. Not on my porch, in my bedroom, but I just came back from the US, which means I have a 14-day quarantine, which sounds bad, but I haven't had to do dishes or run errands or break up fights among the kids for a few days now, so it's not as terrible as it sounds. I want to thank Michael Dorr for including me in the Downtown Seder. My part is the Afikomen. What better way to celebrate the holiday of freedom than to be pent up inside our houses for the holiday? You know, in the Haggadah, it says that every person, every Jew, should feel as if Ki'ilu hu yatsa mi Mitzrayim, as if he himself came out of Egypt. And this year, I think we finally are really getting the sense of what slavery and freedom mean in modern times. So, dessert, the Afikomen. When I think of the Afikomen and dessert, I think back to my childhood. I went to a Jewish day school, and I had to fundraise for my Jewish day school. Jews do that. They make their children fundraise at the age of 5. As a kindergartner, I had to sell the nastiest kosher for Passover candy to raise money for my school. And you probably know what I'm talking about, Barton's. Barton's candy. It's made in Brooklyn, New York, in the same factory on Avenue J since 1936. Last health inspection, 1935, and that's their motto, is Barton's, the candy that tastes like Brooklyn, and it does. I've licked the sidewalk, you really can't tell the difference. And I would go around Evanston, Illinois, my hometown, selling this candy to these women who were not Jewish, because Evanston is not a Jewish town. And they would ring the bell, and they were so nice. They'd say, "Hello, little boy." And I said, "Hi, I'm selling candy to raise money for my school." And she's like, "Oh, I'd be happy to help out. How much is it?" And I'm like, $40, because, you know, Passover candy, it's pricey. And she almost had a heart attack, and she asked, "Well, is there anything cheaper?" I said, "You're in luck, because for only $36, you can get a can with 8 macaroons." And she's like, "What's a macaroon?" And I had to explain, it's like a big Hershey's Kiss, except it's, you know, dipped in honey and rolled in sawdust and glass. It's how we celebrate freedom. And then my mother has a tradition where she would invite these women over to our Passover Seder, because my mom loves to show people what Judaism is all about. And she thinks the Seder is the best way to do it. And so we would have these non-Jewish women come over to our house every year for Seder, and my mom still does this. I don't know if you've ever done it, but let me tell you, people who aren't Jewish love the Passover Seder. First of all, if you're not Jewish, do you know when the Seder ends? Immediately, right? You can pick up and go home whenever you want. You don't have to wait until 3 o'clock in the morning like we do, singing those songs that go on forever. Who knows 81? I know 81. So that's number one. Number two, the food is actually really good. They're surprised. These non-Jewish Seder attendees, they love the food. They love the 4 cups of wine. The only time it gets awkward is dessert, right? Because what do they say? "Wow, that was actually surprisingly good. Where's dessert?" And you're like, "Well, you have to go look for that." And they think that's a good thing. Their ears perk up. They look for it. "Well, I bet it's really yummy if I'm looking for it." And you're like, "Oh yes." Imagine a saltine blown up 10 times its normal size with no salt, and it constipates you till Labor Day. Guess what? It's under the sofa, covered in puppy hair. If you can go find it, I'll give you a nickel. After Yontif, which is Yiddish for never. So that's my Passover memory. I wish everyone a Chag Sameach and Tiyu Bri'im, as we say in Israel.
The meaning of matzah is the soul of the story of Passover. And with a new song from a great singer-songwriter, we're lucky to have tonight Langhorne Slim coming from Nashville, Tennessee. Please welcome, with a mighty soul, Langhorne Slim.
I'm Langhorne Slim at home in Nashville, Tennessee, wishing you all a happy Passover. Please stay safe and well in heart, body, and mind. This is a new song called Mighty Soul. and blow your house down. First a tornado, then a plague. Let us use our hands to help and hold. Let us utilize our mighty soul. You might be worried about the government. Well, I admit that I was worried too. We will endure this wretched toll. Let us pour love unto the mighty soul. That we don't know nothing, and it's a new world to behold. A golden hour to stand for something. Find the power in your mighty soul. Someday the world might come and blow your house down. First a tornado, then a plague. Let us use our hands to help and hold. Let us pour love unto the mighty soul. Much love, power to the people, peace.
That was a great song, Langhorne. We now come to an important symbol of the Seder. It is moror, and this year feels even more powerful. The bitter herbs, which is open to a lot of interpretations. One of the best interpretation was done by Louis Black many years ago. He made this video for us, and you'll hear when it was from. But to introduce the video that he made before is our good friend, Louis Black.
On this Passover night, that I virtually celebrate only with whomever attends these Seders, let me say that the herbs can't be bitter enough for reasons too long for me to go into without punchlines. And I would love to say something new tonight, but there are not enough fucks in the universe. So, may God bless you and keep you. And may this all pass over us soon. And after the madness has ended, let's truly take care of our caregivers and not pay lip service. My love to you all.
Moror, bitter herbs, or I can't tell you how wrong it is for me to be holding this. I don't know if there would have been bitterness among the women in the Jewish community if these were available way back then. Let me just say, this is horseradish. And we eat the horseradish on Passover night to remind us of the bitterness. Now, that was the bitterness that was felt, the bitterness over the time in Egypt, Nazi Germany, the pogroms in Russia. Look, you're all Jews. The list is endless. You need to be reminded. Look. All you got to do, I don't really fully understand the need for ritual sometimes. If you actually need to be reminded of the bitterness that you feel, then I don't know if you're waking up in the morning. I'm reminded of the bitterness is every time I get up about 9 or 10 and I flip on CNN or Fox Network News. I flip that on and I just get bitter because they're telling me everything's okay. It's exhausting. No, I think that the Jewish people have had a constant sense of what bitter is. And truly, horseradish is not the way to go, all right? Horseradish is anyone out there who knows alcohol knows, is the perfect complement in the Bloody Mary, okay? And that's not bitter. It makes that tomato juice and vodka spark. And then when you're finished, are you bitter? No. You want to probably try to maybe work with one of these over time. My family always made me a little bitter around Passover time because my mother couldn't cook. So you have to even realize that the moment when we ate the bitter herbs was kind of a high point because we were going to be heading right down right down toward that moment in time where she brought out the brisket, which, by the way, is the part of the cow that only the Jew can find. Most civilized people will take that brisket and work it to death. Barbecue sauce, soaking it for a day and a half in some sort of a wine combo. Spices are nice. Not my mother. No concept. She would steam. That's right, steam the brisket, boil it, until, well, it became the consistency of rubber bands. I believe that during World War II, my mother, while cooking brisket, was able to supply some of the rubber to our troops overseas. Now, what you do with the maror is you actually dip it into the charosis, which is, I don't know if you realize this, but for those of you who don't, Hebrew is a language of phlegm. It's because we were on the desert for so long that you had to keep the phlegm going in order to make it to the next water hole. Harosis is a combination of a lot of sweet stuff. My brother and I used to spoon that stuff down too, just to keep going till the end without getting a headache. You dip the bitter herbs in the harosis so that you get that sense of, yes, always with the bad, there's the good. There isn't a Jew with an earshot who believes that, okay? No Jew believes that. Every Jew knows it's bad, but it could get a little better, but it's bad. And there's no, silver lining, okay? That's madness. And at this point in time, I don't know where the silver lining might be. But really, for those of you out there, and before I go, let me just say politically, I know a lot of you were disappointed in this election, and figure this one out, okay? Here's the problem. And I give you this from Jeff Stilson. I wish I'd written this, because it's the best thing I heard. The Democrats, you Democrats, because I don't consider myself a Democrat or a Republican, because if you need a team that badly, join a bowling league. Now, you guys picked John Kerry. And John Kerry, by the way, is a man who, after I listened to him speak for 2 paragraphs, I thought to myself, I don't have enough breadcrumbs to get home. But my friend Jeff Stilson said that you had to go a long way to find a guy who could lose to George Bush. It would be like if there was a Special Olympics and you took a normal person and he lost. Well, that's it for me. It's been great spending Passover with you, and this is as close as I plan on coming to Passover for a long, long time. But due to the fact that I am a highly educated as a young Jewish man and was bar mitzvahed and confirmed, I will now read to you in the original Hebrew the blessing over the, I know you ladies are in panic over this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat maror. Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with thy commandments and commanded us to eat bitter herbs. What more can you ask for a God? A God who says, hey, eat some bitter stuff.
Okay, everyone, raise your glasses for officially the second glass of wine. I poured myself a Sauvignon Blanc that we made in Lake County, California. It's delicious, very steely and grapefruity. Representing the second cup this evening is our good friend, Dr. Ruth. I have to say it was a lot of fun yesterday as I tried to show her how to shoot a selfie and send it to me. And as you can see, we had to end up old schooling it with some FaceTime, but it works and you can hear it. Dr. Ruth is an amazing person. She was born in 1928 in Germany. Her family and her experience Kristallnacht. She alone got to Switzerland. Then she fled to Palestine. She joined the Haganah. She was wounded in the 47 war, Palestinian war. And then she became an American media personality, best known for her show, Sexually Speaking. She's incredible. We love her. Please welcome Dr. Ruth.
Shalom לכולכם. Hashem. Hello, everybody. Michael Dorf, you're doing a fabulous job. And I want you to know that you are already fulfilling one of the mitzvot that says that all of us have an obligation, midor ledor, from generation to generation, to talk about Yetziat Mitzrayim, to talk about the leaving of Egypt. Here's what you people are doing, all of us together. We are taking the mitzvah, we are talking about this year. We are sitting home, some of us with family, some of us like me alone, but we are talking on that contraption of the modern science telephone. I see you smile. So, Michael, you and I already 3 days before Pesach, we are fulfilling the mitzvah, ledaber, to talk, midor ledor, from generation to generation. And you know what else, Michael?
What?
Put me on the list. Next year, I will be there.
Okay, I can't wait to have you next year.
Can you see me?
Yes, perfectly. You look great.
I wish everybody season Pesach, Pesach Sameach. Tell them not to lose hope, not to lose enthusiasm, but to do exactly what you, Michael, are doing. Get behind that modern contraption, tape me, never mind that my hair is not done.
You look great.
And tell everybody to not lose hope. It's important to keep your morale up. I have another thing to say.
Okay.
My late husband would not like me to say that. But all of the people that you're going to talk to,
Yes.
say, Dr. Ruth says, not what I usually talk about. That comes later. Dr. Ruth said, all of you put on lights in your apartments, in your houses, even in rooms that you are not using right now. Those people who have worries about electricity bill, ignore it. Others, if you don't have to worry right now about electricity, put the light on so that we all have a light that shines to the next generation, midor ledor, and next year we'll all be together, and I will be at your Seder, Michael, forever and ever. Shalom.
Shalom.
Chag Sameach.
Thank you. Love you. Bye. Okay, now it's time for the traditional fiddler reference point in the evening. Joining us with a vintage video is the actor and writer, one of the great Tevias on Broadway, Harvey Fierstein.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Seder. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you, but I'm playing a Jew, and so are you. So, like many of you, I was brought up on this whole Seder story, and I grew up with the stories of the Jews enslaved building pyramids, and then I saw the movie, and I don't know. The historians say that it's not really true, the Jews really weren't enslaved building the pyramids, and I never really got the guy with the white hair with the snake eating the other snake. I don't know. You want to believe that's fine. But all in all, here's what Passover is for me. It's a moment to stop and think of how we treat each other. Whether it's really enslaving each other or just treating each other with lack of self-respect. Our world is filled with examples of people that are discriminating against each other, that take away their lands, that burn their homes, that kill each other over differences of how they worship God, of who has the better land, who's closer to the water. It's not good. It's not good. We certainly can do better. And that's what I like to think of Passover as, a moment where we say, how can we do better? Here in the United States, we're not exactly on the ethnic cleansing side, but we do have a government that thinks it's really fine to pass laws against gays and lesbians. They are actually discussing how to treat us differently than heterosexuals. It's not good. It's not good. We're not really a shining example to the world anymore. There was a time when we were a shining example to the world of freedom and what freedom really meant. You can't hold your head very high when you're willing to pass laws to discriminate against people. So I say we can do better. So I was sitting around eating chopped apples and walnuts and telling stories that may happen, maybe they didn't happen. It made a good movie for Cecil B. DeMille, could make a good movie for what's his name with the Christ movie, you know who I'm talking. Could be a good movie for him, I don't know. A role for Barbara Streisand. You know, anytime you can get her out of the house, she'll do the score. It's always a good thing. And Billy Crystal needs work too. Look how I talk like I'm a Jew. Oh, I am a Jew. But so anyway, from here at Fiddler on the Roof, this is Harvey Fierstein saying, sei gesinnt, geh gesinnt, es gesinnt, but give a little to somebody else. The best thing, take care of yourself, then take care of your family, then take care of your friends, and then take care of the rest of the world, okay? But don't forget the rest of the world. It's not good what we're doing in this country. It's just not good. Okay, we gotta go. I hear bells ringing. Curtain.
Asking questions is the heart of the Passover Seder, and perhaps no one in our country has asked more challenging questions of our president than Congressman Jerry Nadler. Representative Nadler has been serving the U.S. House of Representatives for 14 terms and is chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. He's been a champion his whole life of civil rights, LGBT rights, and women's rights. As a great civil rights leader John Lewis said of Jerry, he's a staunch defender of civil liberties in America and a passionate advocate for these issues in Congress. We're honored to have him again this year asking 4 more questions.
Well, hello everybody. Chag Sameach, Azis Pesach. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I was going to be with you, but they decided to schedule votes on tonight, which wasn't the original intent, but let's have a good Seder and start off the holiday right. Why on this night is the rule of law especially important for our democracy? Maintaining the rule of law and investigating threats against it is a core obligation of Congress and of the House Judiciary Committee in particular. We have seen the damage done to our democratic institutions in the 2 years of the Trump administration that the Congress refused to conduct responsible oversight. Congress must provide a check on the abuse of power. Our newly launched investigations focus on the alleged obstruction of justice, public corruption, and other abuses of power by the President, his associates, and his administration. We will act quickly to gather information, to assess the evidence, and to follow the facts wherever they lead with full transparency. This is a critical time for our nation, and we have a responsibility to investigate these matters and hold hearings for the public to have all the facts and decide then where to go. On all nights, we welcome those who seek a better life in our country. Why do the Trump administration's immigration policies go against what we learned from the Passover Seder? The administration's callous immigration policies of denying asylum seekers, separating families, ending protections for dreamers, and more have thrown hundreds of thousands of families into turmoil, fear, and uncertainty. As we debate immigration policy, it's important to remember that the status of immigrants is not peripheral to the Torah, but central to it. The most often repeated commandment in the Torah, 35 or 40 times in slightly different formulations, is Et hager lo tilchatz, ki atem yadatem et nefesh hager, ki gerim hayitem eretz Mitzrayim. You shall not oppress the stranger, for you know the heart of the stranger, for you are strangers in the land of Egypt. It is hard to read the news without thinking about that message. Immigrants are an essential part of our communities. To remove them or prevent others from entering the country is immoral. And we have always recognized that. The quote on the Liberty Bell is a biblical quote. And that quote is, "And thou shalt proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." A better translation is, and to all who dwell therein, who live there, l'chol yoshvoteha, to everyone who lives there, not to citizens, not to people who were born there, everyone. On all nights, those who seek to serve our country are held in the high regard. Why does President Trump seek to ban transgender service members from serving in our nation's military? Banning military service by transgender people is not only bad policy, it is unconstitutional. No American who is willing and able should be denied the honor and responsibilities that come with serving in our armed forces solely on the basis of their status as a member of a protected group. It is time to say enough is enough to the prejudice, harassment, and indignities the LGBT community has faced for far too long. We used to ban gay and lesbian soldiers. Now we're banning transgender soldiers. Neither is constitutional, neither is right, neither serves the interests of our country to have the strongest possible military. On all nights, a hate crime committed against a member of any group is an attack on all of us. Why do federal officials refuse to recognize and combat the rise of hate crimes taking place around the country and the world? Why, in particular, do they refuse to recognize and acknowledge the rise in hate crimes because of white nationalism and racism? Hate crimes increased 17% last year, and hate crimes motivated by anti-Semitism rose 27%. Hate crimes, unfortunately, remain vastly underreported, so these troubling numbers fail to capture the extent of the problem. All of this is playing out against the backdrop of President Trump's rhetoric. He calls himself a nationalist. He falsely asserts that foreigners are the primary sources of domestic terror. He famously claimed that there were some very fine people on both sides of the riot in Charlottesville, where neo-Nazi marchers marched chanting, "Jews will not replace us," and then killed one counter-protester and two officers of the Virginia State Police. The House Judiciary Committee is charged with confronting the threat hate crimes pose, and we will be taking action on this matter.
Even though that Jerry Nadler thing was from last year, it's as strong as ever. Boy, he's doing great work. Thank you, Jerry. Our next contribution almost needs, look at this gefilte fish, needs no introduction. We put this together for the Downtown Seder years ago, and it's been a regular at our Seder table. Almost the same as horseradish on gefilte fish. It's a regular. Please welcome, from his shower, singing Go Down Moses, Al Franken.
When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oh, press so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down to Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Happy Passover, everyone. From me and from Paul Robeson. Go down, Moses, way down to Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go.
Remember, you're commanded to keep drinking your wine. I'm now switching over to a Cabernet Sauvignon from Yountville, Napa Valley. We made, this is a 2017 vintage. It's pretty yummy. It's not the third kiddush yet, but it was time to fill the glass. Now representing the Global 4 Children, coming to us from Paris, the lovely singer and songwriter Karen Ann, whom we can't wait to have back at City Winery when we open our doors again. Karen?
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all well and safe, and that for this Seder, you have a loved one close by, whether digitally, online, or with you in the same space. I'm in Paris with my daughter. We've been home for the past 4 weeks. I left home 3 times to buy groceries, and other than that, we're just home here in Montmartre. We're very lucky to have a lot of sun through the window. And I wanted to let you know that since the beginning of the confinement here in France, I go live every night, night in Paris, 10 p.m. Central European time, which is probably 4 p.m. New York. I go live on my Instagram account, that's Karen Ann Music. And other than playing music, I also read messages from people who are in their homes and they have loved ones around the world, whether it's family, friends, siblings, or anyone they want to send a message to. I read the messages during the live sessions. The email address you can send the message to is daysofconfinement2020@gmail.com. daysofconfinement2020@gmail.com. I'll be happy to read some of your messages during those live sessions. First of all, Chag Sameach, and we have this tradition with the Downtown Seder to play a cover, and since I'm in Paris, I thought that a François Hardy cover would be a good choice. So I chose La Question by François Hardy.
Je ne sais pas qui tu peux être, je ne sais pas qui tu espères, je cherche toujours à te connaître, et ton silence trouble mon silence. Je ne sais pas d'où vient le mensonge. Est-ce de ta voix qui se tait? Les mondes où malgré moi je plonge sont comme un tunnel qui m'effraie. De ta distance à la mienne, on se perd bien trop souvent, et chercher à te comprendre, c'est courir après le vent. Je ne sais pas pourquoi je reste dans une mer où je me noie. Je ne sais pas pourquoi je reste dans un air qui m'étouffera. Tu es le sang de ma blessure, tu es le feu de ma brûlure, tu es ma question sans réponse, mon cri muet et mon silence.
Chag Sameach, be home, be safe. Love from Paris.
What has become a real tradition over the years, actually, it's now a couple of decades, is having my really tall friend, Judy Gold, write an updated Dayyenu. This is always a highlight of my night, for it's never enough. And what is great about tonight is that she usually takes the stage and interrupts me during my introduction when I start to list all of her TV and theater credits. But she's not able to do that tonight. Sorry, Judy. But her bio is long. She's really funny. I love seeing her in the Showtime series, I'm Dying Up Here, and she's won 2 Emmys for writing and producing The Rosie O'Donnell Show. She's a prolific Twitter person. Anyways, with Dayyenu for 2020, Judy Gold.
Hi, I'm Judy Gold. As we tell the story of Passover, 2 of the topics the Haggadah touches on are the plagues and how Moses led the Jews out of bondage in Egypt to freedom. So this year's Dayyenu will also touch upon those themes of leadership and the plague we are all currently facing. If he had just blamed China for not reporting the truth about the virus to the rest of the world, but hadn't gotten briefed about it himself on December 19th and failed to report the truth about the virus to the rest of America for nearly 3 months, Dayyenu. If he had rich white CEOs speak at his coronavirus update reality show and not also force them to preface their remarks with, "Before I begin, I want to thank the president for his incredible leadership," Dayyenu. If he simply insisted to reporters that he was a positive person without following up with a dozen negative comments, Dayyenu. If he had called Yamichai Cinder threatening, told Peter Alexander he was terrible at his job, and insisted Jim Acosta was the reason people don't want to watch CNN, but not had been threatening, terrible at his job, and the reason no one wants to watch his press briefings, Dayyenu. If the White House staff had been ordered to work from home and not also mentioned that it's the happiest they've been since January 20th, 2016, Dayyenu. If he had said what a beautiful thing it would be for Americans to return to church on Easter Sunday and not failed to mention that he had never been in church on Easter Sunday, Dayyenu. If he had said that somebody told him they couldn't believe that there were 151 countries in the world and that somebody wasn't him, Dayyenu. If he had spoken about the myriad of industries affected by the pandemic and not pronounced it industry, Dayyenu. If he had said that Pence shouldn't call the governors if they don't treat you right, when he has never, ever treated anyone right, Dayyenu. If he had said he takes no responsibility because he inherited a broken COVID-19 test from the previous administration and not forced us to pretend that the previous administration could have known about a disease that didn't even exist yet, Dayyenu. If he had announced that although it's recommended people wear masks, but he is choosing not to wear one, and didn't have a wife who was simultaneously tweeting that everyone needs to wear a mask, Dayyenu. If he had stated that the reason he's choosing not to wear a mask is because it interferes with his ability to meet with foreign presidents, prime ministers, and dictators, when the truth is that he just can't find a mask that comes in orange, Dayyenu. If he said he opposed write-in votes for the 2020 election because it would allow people to cheat and not made it perfectly clear that the real reason is that it wouldn't allow him to cheat, Dayyenu. If he had just given racist, homophobic, sexist, morally bankrupt former OxyContin addict Rush Limbaugh the Presidential Medal of Freedom and not invited morally bankrupt fake sleep expert who has settled more than a dozen lawsuits and former crack addict My Pillow guy Mike Lindell to the White House to go on endlessly about Jesus during an official press conference, Dayyenu. If he had consoled Americans who've lost people to the virus and not added, "Wow, these are like really big numbers. I mean, no one has ever seen numbers this big," Dayyenu. If the networks aired Trump every afternoon pretending to be a leader and not already shown Andrew Cuomo that morning actually being one, Dayyenu. If Mike Pence could just stare longingly at Trump while he rattles on insipidly and not appear so turned on as to make us imagine them naked and doing things that we can never unsee, Dayyenu. If he claimed to be serving as a wartime president and not also claimed to have bone spurs to get out of serving in an actual war, Dayyenu. If the wise, insane Dr. Fauci corrected the stream of lies and misinformation that spews out of the mouth of our ignorant president, but had not also been the one to receive death threats, Dayyenu. If he had tested negative twice for the virus, but not had been the one person most Americans hoped would test positive, Dayyenu. And finally, if the virus had just given us all some extra quality time with our families, but not caused us to spend hour upon hour on the couch drinking alcohol and shoveling cheese and donuts into our mouths like there really is no tomorrow, Dayyenu. Dayyenu, 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 Chag Sameach!
And now for our musical, that was great. And now for our musical Dayyenu, we have Perry Ferrell, who did an amazing run of shows at City Winery this past year. He's best known as leader of the band Jane's Addiction, and he's also the creator of the festival Lollapalooza, with a version of Dayyenu that's gonna make you get up and sing and dance. Please welcome Perry Ferrell.
Dayyenu
Perry. Telling the story of Mitzrayim and understanding the struggle could not be more represented than by the words of the director of the RDJ refugee shelter, Adafe Okaporo. Adafe is an important voice in today's work around the refugee crisis globally being done with compassion. Please check out his site, rdjrefugieshelter.org. Adafe?
Hi, everybody. My name is Adafe Okporo. I'm the Executive Director of RDJ Refugee Shelter in Harlem. We provide housing for asylum seekers, refugees, and displaced people. At this time, it's very difficult to think about celebration of spring, Passover, or the rebirth of anything because the pandemic has taken over our life and things have changed. Now I want you to imagine how difficult it is for people to leave their life and livelihood, to move to a different country and start all over again. The only way you can be able to do that at this moment is to develop compassion. Compassion is putting yourself in the shoes of others, even when you are not going through what they have gone through. To know that if they can survive, you too can also survive. I had to flee my country, searching for a place where I can be free. When I came here, I was kept in an immigration detention center with no ability to do things at my own free will. We are being asked to stay at home as a way to keep in line with CDC guidelines and to prevent the spread of the disease. If that is what it will take to save lives, I think celebrating in your home should be a joyful thing because you know the purpose of why you are doing this and you know you are saving lives of others. Thank you very much for listening to me rant about what it means to struggle, but remember that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. That should bring us hope for what the future would bring after this pandemic. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Adafe. Digging deeper into Magi, the story of leaving Egypt and the restless sea of time and how we have come and overcome it is the great singer Catherine Russell. She wanted us to consider the charitable work of the Jazz Foundation of America, who gives musicians, especially elderly musicians who are out of work or lack health coverage, support. They need it now more than ever. Please welcome, helping us understand Magid, Catherine Russell.
By and by, Lord, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathering home. We will tell the story of how we overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. We are tossed and driven on a restless sea of time. Somber skies and howling tempests oft succeed the bright sunshine in the land of perfect day. When the mist has rolled away, we will understand it better by and by. Oh, children, by and by, Lord, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathering home. We will tell the story of how we overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. You know, temptations, hidden snares often catch us unawares, and our hearts are made to bleed from some thoughtless word and deed. And we wonder why the test when we've tried to do our best. but we'll understand it better by and by. Come on, children, by and by, Lord, when the morning comes. All the saints of God are gathering home. We will tell the story of how we overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by.
Last year at the Atlanta Downtown Seder, one of the most poignant moments came from the leader of the influential hip-hop group Arrested Development. Speech has been on the front of a number of causes and showing a more positive, Afrocentric alternative to the gangster rap of the 1980s. He's worked with many, from Spike Lee on Malcolm X to a recent docuseries exposing white supremacists. Check out his work. He's really, really an incredible artist. And it's much more than just the Grammy Awards that Arrested Development has won. Here he is, doing what he did in Atlanta last year, asked him to do it from home. A great version of Bob Marley's redemption song, fellow Milwaukeean, Speech.
Hello, this is Speech, Arrested Development. We're doing special things during this time of year where everybody is in unprecedented times, and the idea of freedom becomes more tangible, and the lack of it is also tangible. During this celebration, I really want to think about how God intended us to be free, how our spirits, our lives, and our joy is supposed to be free. So I got my little handy dandy djembe here from Africa, and I wanted to sing a song by Bob Marley called Redemption Song. So let's do it. Here we go. Oh, pirate, yes, they rabbi, sold I to the merchant ships, minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my head was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We flowered in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, songs of freedom. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Oh, have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop at a time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Oh, I know it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs. 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, songs of freedom, songs of freedom, songs of freedom. redemption songs.
I love that speech. Thank you very much. Really, really cool, powerful. So from speech to Peter, Paul, and Mary, singing songs of protest to make the world a better place has been Peter Yarrow's mission for almost 60 years. When Peter, Paul, and Mary were formed in 1961, a year before I was born, in Greenwich Village, they performed their original songs, early Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie, and Pete Seeger. Peter, Paul, and Mary performed in Washington, D.C., showing their commitment to civil rights by singing alongside Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on D.C. in 1963. Peter would like everyone to check out his current passion project, OperationRespect.org. It's a true honor to connect to this special voice and have him again at our Seder, Peter Yarrow.
Puff the Seder dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Galilee. Little Jackie Paper, he loved that rascal Puff, and brought him some gefilte fish and other smelly stuff. Puff the Seder dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Galilee. Now sing with me now. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist. Galilee, land called Galilee. Together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail. Jackie ate his brisket perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Hey! Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came. The pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff roared out, hey, 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 eat, Bubble, eat, Bubble, it's Pesach. Eat, eat, it's our Seder. Oh, Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea with me, frolicked in the autumn Galilee, in a land called Galilee. I Puff, the magic dragon. He lived and he went by the sea and frolicked in his will, I'm telling you. And it's happened like this. Michael Dorf, we're so grateful for all you've done for music and us. Yeah, we don't want to insult you or compliment you too much or even make a fuss, because we know you're doing it all for love. And maybe a little guilt on the side, bubble on, who can tell? But thank you for this privilege, for being with you today, and remembering how we love each other, and that is why we say today it is a sacred day, and apocryphal too for sure. But one thing that we know, my friends, our love for each other will endure. Oh, Puff, the Seder dragon, lived by the sea, and he ate his gefilte fish. Why not you and me? I have another song to sing for you, my friends. It's a Hanukkah song, Light One Candle, but it bears on this moment. At this time of Passover, of course, we think about when we were slaves in Egypt, and we talk about the Exodus, we talk about the miracles of that, and how the Jews were freed from slavery. And part of that were these plagues that came upon the people and said, if you don't let the Jews go, these plagues are what you will endure. Well, as we are dealing with this coronavirus plague, we wonder, in analogy, who is Pharaoh? Who is holding us captive? As Jews and as people, and I believe it is the way we have allowed greed and materialism and the decay of our caring about each other and our kindness and our gentleness and our love and our compassion to not lead the way, to not be the light that brings us forward. So today I sing Light One Candle, saying, light one candle to bind us together with peace as the song in our heart. That's what it says. But the peace that we're talking about is the peace of Martin Luther King, where he said, there is no peace without justice, and no justice without peace. And to have the extravagance and the inequality that goes on now is not just. And there will be no peace and no love until we embrace each other as we are tonight. And this is, for me, what being Jewish is in this very moment. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. And light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand, as it is now, my friends, and sing, don't let the light go out with me. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe, never let us be divided. Never let us be divided, lest we lose our capacity to stand up for what is morally right. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. And light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, let anger not tear us apart. But light one candle to bind us together with peace as the song in our hearts. Don't let the light go out, sing with me. Let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Now, what is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep it alive in that flame? What's the commitment to those who have died? Those who are dying. When we cry out, they've not died in vain. We have come this far always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is the burden, this is the promise, and this is why we shall not fail. To bind our hearts together, to save each other, to save this planet, to love each other. Love will drive out hate. Hate will not do it. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, my friends. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. Thank you, Michael Dorf. Thank you, Winery. Thank you, friends. Thank you for bringing us together. Happy Pesach.
You know him as the longtime drummer for Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band and the band leader for Conan O'Brien. We have a lot of fun hosting him at City Winery with his Jukebox project. It's great, where the audience creates a set list from hundreds of songs. Tonight, joining us at the Seder, Max Weinberg.
Oh, hi everybody. Max Weinberg here from the E Street Band. As you can see, I am washing my hands in observance of the official protocol. And we're practicing social distance here at my house. So actually, honey, can you move back a little bit? Oh, that's good, 6 feet. Well, I am happy to be joining you tonight to help celebrate City Winery's Downtown Seder 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses as we observe the Shechechianu, a blessing that we recite and give thanks for new experiences and for bringing us to this present moment. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechechianu v'ki'imanu v'higianu lazman hazeh, which translated, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Chag Pesach Sameach, everyone.
That's good matzah. Excuse me 1 second. It's time for the 10 plagues. And given the importance of the subject this year, we needed one of the best comedians in town. So please enjoy Seth Herzog. Take another sip. Ignore a couple of the sound problems in his video because he just sent it and it isn't working in every spot, but you get most of it. Here we go. Seth Herzog and the 10 plagues.
Hey there, City Winery audience. How you guys doing? I hope everyone's at home. Probably sitting in your Snuggie with a hot bottle of Manischewitz and maybe that one gefilte fish you're saving for the right moment. It's Seth Herzog, and I'm sitting here with my Juicy shirt on. Look at this. Yeah. Makes me feel the most Jewish and the most sexy at the same time. They wanted me to talk to you about the 10 plagues. Plagues. Look, I always thought as a kid that the 10 plagues were the most far-fetched of all the things in the Passover story until now. Now I believe it. I believe in plagues now. We're going through one. That's why I'm not near you. And I'm just saying, I'm thrilled to not be near you today. Thrilled. Couldn't be happier. That's the most Jewish thing I'll say tonight. Anyway, Here's the thing. Not everyone really knows exactly what the plagues were. In fact, I'm trying to center this. If you go through different sources to look it up, they'll get completely different answers. You know? Like, and if I asked you, name all 10, I bet you couldn't. If I said name all 10 plagues, you'd probably be like, locusts, blood, wrath, pride, sleepy, dock. Like, you wouldn't even know. You know? You'd just be grasping at straws. Anyway, I'm going to go through them with you one by one. And I'm going to talk about how I feel like God and Moses could have done a better job. I feel like the plagues were a little half-assed. I'm not going to lie to you. They were kind of half-assed plagues. Let's start with the first one, blood. Sure, blood. We all have it. It's everywhere. It's inside us. And this was in, like, I don't know, thousands of years BC. I bet there was blood coming out of people's pores and their limbs and their mouth all the time. So what this plague is, a little extra blood than what you're used to seeing, because there was probably a lot of blood. Just because there was no healthcare. The healthcare was walk it off or put butter on it. That was it. You know, maybe there's a spirit in you that we need to get out by stabbing. Second plague was frogs. Nothing sounds more fun to me than a bunch of frogs hanging out. Are you serious? Frogs? That's the second plague. So, food. A lot of these people are poor and hungry. So you're dropping food from the sky. You're like, that's awesome. Frogs' legs, frogs' bellies, all very, 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 very good. And entertainment. You now got frog races. You can do like all sorts of things. You can have a frog butler. There's a lot of things you could do with frogs. Plus you have a pond. Now you got a pond full of frogs. What's better for the kids than that? Barely a plague. But they're the first two. It's kind of 101. I get it. Third one, we're going to go with lice. That's what they went with for the third plague, lice. I've had lice. You get a special shampoo and a teeny comb. You're good. Wild animals is the fourth plague. Wild animals? Yeah, that sounds amazing. That's Joe Exotica's wet dream. So all of a sudden you walk out your house and there's big cats and hippos running around, giraffes. Why go to the zoo when the zoo has come to me? Barely a plague. That sounds awesome. Also, what was the time length of these plagues? Was it like an hour per plague? A day? A week? Or a full year? We don't know. And also, let's remember, the Jews were living through these plagues too. Like, they lived in the same town with the Egyptians. They all lived together in the same area. It's not like the vermin, didn't infect the Jews. They did. So the whole thing seems a little weird in that sense. Fifth plague, pestilence of livestock, a little mad cow disease. I get that. You need your meat, you need your milk. Cows dying is a problem. That's a big problem. However, all the vegans in town are like, I told you. No one has gloated more than the vegans during that plague, I guarantee you. Sixth plague, they went with boils. Boils on people's faces. Again, this was like 2000, 3000 BC. How do we know the difference between the boils that were there before and the new plague boils? Same thing. Everyone looked probably exactly the same. I imagine most people had boil faces. That's how I imagine people then. Oh. And when the plague went away, did the boils go away? Like, were the boils only there for as long as the plague length, or was those permanent boils? A lot of unanswered questions here. Seventh plague, hail. Yeah, you know why? I bet it was winter. And I bet Egypt had some freak snowstorm, and Moses was like, yeah, it's a plague sent by God and me. Enjoy that snowstorm. Hail. We live through it all the time. It's pretty regular for us here. Eighth plague, locusts. Now, growing up here in the Northeast, we know that the locusts show up every 17 years and sometimes 13 years. I bet this was a locust year. And again, Moses was like, The locusts are coming out. Check out my plagueness. I'm killing it with the plagues this year. The locusts are noisy and kind of annoying. It's not a plague, especially not the 8th plague, okay? 9th, darkness. That's the 9th plague, is darkness. 9th. Did Moses say, it's going to be real dark for 12 hours, then light again, then dark again for 12 hours. Plague! Even if it was dark all day. I've been living in this apartment for 3 weeks. I haven't seen the outside or the daylight in a long time. It doesn't matter. It could be dark for weeks. I'm fine. We dealt with it. It doesn't feel like a plague. It's a little plague light. Now, the last plague, as we all know, is the killing of the firstborn. That's a plague. Now we're getting into plague stuff. That's hardcore. Killing of the firstborn, where the angel of death went house to house. It's a lot of work. That's like some Santa Claus stuff. House to house in one night, all over Egypt. It's a lot of work. Killing the firstborn of each house. But they didn't go to the Jews' houses, the one plague the Jews got to avoid. The one. Because the Jews put the lamb's blood on their door, and the angel of death passed over. You get it? You see what I did there? Passed over their houses. It's like when a character in the movie says the title of the film. Yeah, it's exciting. Anyway, that plague was awful. And that's a real plague, and that was what finally broke the Pharaoh. It was like, okay, you guys can leave. I have an idea. Maybe the first plague should have just been the coronavirus. That should have been number one. And we wouldn't have to deal with any of the other stuff. The cows would have lived. No one would have had boils on their faces. It would have been better for everyone. Anyway, I hope everyone dipped their finger in wine and put a little wine dot on your plate for each plague. If you forgot, I don't even know what to say to you. God probably won't forgive you. I hope you have a great Seder and a great time. And I hope you found this at least mildly amusing. Good night, guys.
Oh, are we live? Sorry. It's delicious wine, this City Winery Cabernet. Actress, comedian, frequent guest of David Letterman, and provocateur, we love her, Sandra Bernhard. She has a huge biography, but if you've never seen her alongside Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis in Martin Scorsese's his 1982 film, The King of Comedy, it's a great one to watch at home this week. Please welcome the great Sandra Bernhard to do the third Kiddush, even if it's your 6th or 7th cup. I know I am, enjoying a City Winery cab. Please welcome Sandra Bernhard.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, peri hagafen. Amen. Here's to a beautiful Pesach. May we all be released from our own inner chametz, and next year together in a much more joyous and happy occasion. Here's to all of you. Be well. L'chaim.
One of the great moments before the shutdown was walking over to City Vineyard at Pier 26 and stumbling into my friend Rachel Sage performing in that little intimate space with our little tiny stage there. I had forgotten how great she is. I asked her to do a piece tonight for Miriam's cup and the importance of the orange on the Seder plate. Please enjoy Rachel Sage.
Hello everyone, and a very Zizen Pesach to you. My name is Rachel Sage, and I hope you're safe and well and hunkered down. Don't go anywhere. This is the place to be. So I am highlighting my 2 very favorite Passover traditions. The first being Miriam's cup, which reminds us to never forget the role that Miriam's well played in our history during the Exodus when we were going from slavery to freedom. And of course, this reminds us to reflect on the women in our lives who have been so important to our tradition and our history. And also we have the orange on the Seder plate, which is so incredibly important because it reminds us to be inclusive, not only of our immediate family or our immediate loved ones, but of all Jews everywhere. We are all welcome at the Seder table. And I know that when Professor Susanna Heschel came up with this great tradition, she was thinking specifically of gay and lesbian Jews, but then it has expanded to be any marginalized individuals. So, along those lines, I'm going to play a song called Sister Song, and I really hope you enjoy it. And if you know it, please sing along. Everybody's looking over your shoulder, seems they can't wait to hear what's next. Everybody's saying she's looking older, could it be there's a cruel subtext to all this endless adulation? Oh, this reckless fatuation, so I will stay with you tonight in case this corset gets too tight, and I will keep you company, 'cause that's what a sister should be. Don't forget to call your mother tonight if you're not with her. She'll really appreciate it. Or your sister. So they said it was the year of the woman. I believe it was the year of sex. Maybe this will be the year of the human. That could be a bit complex for all these endless aberrations from meaningful expectations. So I will stay with you tonight in case this corset gets too tight, and I will keep you company, 'cause that's what a sister should be. Imaginary violin solo. Everybody's looking under your mattress. Seems I can't wait to find that pea. Maybe you were never quite the princess everybody was ashamed you'd be, and all these endless presentations must affect your concentration. So I will stay with you tonight in case this corset gets too tight, and I will keep you company, 'cause that's what a sister should be. Yeah, that's what a sister should be. That's what a sister should be. That's what a sister should be. Happy Passover!
Elijah is coming in tonight from Hawaii. If you need one more great movie to watch this week or next week or the week after, highly recommend seeing Mike Myers' Mensch, the life of the legendary Hollywood insider Shep Gordon. I actually think that's the full title of the film, Mensch, the life of the highly legendary Hollywood insider, Shep Gordon. The story is amazing, actually. The book is really good too, and so is Shep. Our super mensch, Elijah, tonight, Shep Gordon.
Aloha, the wandering Jew in Maui. You probably didn't know, but Maui is one of its famous things is chicken soup and matzo balls. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it today. We all hear Jewish penicillin, chicken soup for the soul. Chicken soup has become the elixir worldwide, every race, every generation, to cure what ails you. And I never really understood it until I made it. And the first time I made chicken soup, I found my grandmother's recipe. And as I was making it, I channeled her, and I channeled her love and her sense of service, and how anyone in the neighborhood was sick, chicken soup showed up from somebody's grandmother. It's a beautiful part of our culture, a beautiful part of our tradition. And I'd like to share a little matzo ball soup made from Maui with love for you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody who participated in this. Wishing you a safe, loving, and happy Passover.
Oops. Thanks, Shep. And now, our 9th cup of wine for this evening, a beautiful version of Ma Lecha Chaim by Paul Shapiro and daughter Leila Shapiro. Paul is a prolific artist. One of my favorite current projects of his is Ribs and Brisket, playing the music of Miss Maisel. Also good television, I guess, to watch. We all have a little extra time these days. From his home with his family, Paul Shapiro. Well, that was our show. I mean, Seder. Thank you for participating in this. Usually one concludes a Seder by saying next year in Jerusalem. I'd like to say next year together, 6 inches apart, not 6 feet apart. Let's also hope that it's going to take place at our new city winery, New York, as well, which is a great new place. We're 90% finished before the shutdown. Hopefully we'll get it open. It's going to be an amazing facility, 15th Street and the West Side Highway, Hudson River Park. Really hope everyone enjoyed this Seder. We'll see you next year. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Good night. Zach, yeah, you should. Oh, we gotta clean this because they're gonna do some wedding stuff online. Just be cleaning that. All right, let's go get some pizza. There's some delivery at the Kosher for Passover? No, it's not. Yeah, it's still a day before Passover. Eli, I think we're done.
Okay.
Could only do that at home. If only. Here's my chords. This one's one. All right, thanks, guys. Now let's go. Oh, you know what? Grab some extra toilet paper. We need it. Paper towels? I don't know what we're gonna do without toilet paper. Over the next, dolls? Yeah, we're good. All right. All right. Let's go. I gotta turn off the lights. Whose is this? Who's this? Me. Would you stop filming already? Let's go. Gotta go.